Right, good afternoon everybody, and hopefully welcome to the plot. Been a while since I made a video, so I thought, beautiful day, get outside and get started. I had a visit the weekend from Dean. Dean's lost a plot, great lad, lovely to see him, and he's one of his kids. Brought us some fantastic leeks over from Paul Rochester. Thanks Paul. Great again. These are the Giants, Yorkshire Giants. So I'll be growing these right through the season, right through next year. So if you want to follow on my travels, and by all means, I picked up quite a few subscribers this weekend, and I'm surmising they're from Dean's page. Well, welcome to our plot. You haven't lost a plot, but you're on the plot, and you'll know by some of our regular subscribers that we're not actually on the plot yet. We're at home. My little 6x6 greenhouse at home, which I do a lot of potting off, a lot of growing early on in the season, and I always start down here with my little heater. And if you notice in the background, I've got the light on, mainly because I face south. My house in front of me, and I get no sunshine whatsoever from November right through to March. I get a little bit in between the houses of a morning, about half an hour, and maybe a little bit in the west when the sun drops in the west of an afternoon, but that's it. So I like to have my little light on for about 10 hours a day. Now, there's lots of people been asking about the giant onions and giant leeks. They've been watching them on the internet, and believe you me, these are all the big growers. These are all the lads that love the show, and they've got to have their leeks and their onions well ahead of everybody else. Well timed for the shows that's coming up next year. So don't panic. If you want to grow a nice big onion, just to show off to your family and friends, and then follow us and we'll show you how to do it. I have set a few of my onions away, not all of them. I've got about 4 varieties I'm trialling this year. So what I've done, I've set quite a few of them away. I managed to get some off Dave's on the plot, Dave's allotment. I managed to get some big onions off him. I think they're PGs, but they're in anyway. And of course, I've got my own strain, which are the big show onions. They're already in. I put a couple of dozen of them in, and I don't think it'll be too long before they're popping through. But as I say, if you want to grow a nice big onion, just hang fire and wait until about the middle of December. That's when I normally set me bulk of the onions away. Reason being, you've got the 21st of December, which is solstice, the winter solstice. You're at the lowest, or the shortest day of the year, and then after that you're going to be gaining 3 to 4 minutes a day after that. You don't think it's much, 3 to 4 minutes, but believe you me, the plants notice it. The days are getting longer, sun's getting higher, and that's when they start putting their growth on. So if you just want to wait, hang on till then, and we'll go through them. As I say, the big leeks and the big onions, well, they're in now. I've got some big show onions here from Paul Rochester. These are pips, going from pips. I have got a head in the greenhouse, in the other greenhouse, and what I'll do next week, I'll strip the head down and I'll go through here planting the grass, or the pips as people like to call them. But we'll do all that next week. We'll do a couple of trays of onions and we'll do a couple of trays of leeks. I can just show you these now. These are pips. If you can see them, these are pips I just put in a week ago, and already they're rumping away. Now I'm not going to be showing again next year, mainly because of the accident I had back in the last year. It's been a year now, and I'm still not recovered. I had a bad infection in the leg about 5 weeks ago. I had to go back into the hospital, and of course this is what's stopping me from getting the videos on the go. But I had promised I would start and do one every fortnight. We've got loads to do in the allotment, loads to do in the plot, so I'm going to be starting a video every week, or at least every fortnight, and then just keeping us updated on what we're doing. But yeah, there's my first tray of pips. There's 40 pips there, and then these big show leeks. Same again, and they're grass, not the smoking type, just the leek grass. So they're in, and keep an eye on them, and I'll show you how they go on through the year with them. They're growing away nice, and I'm going to give them a little bit of spray this morning, a little bit dead dry on the top. I'm just going to give them a spraying, and all I use, if you've been watching my videos, well, a bit of chamomile tea in the water, doesn't come in this, keeps them nice and clean. and that's all mine I'll get. As you go through my videos, these are for the new people, as you go through my videos you'll see a lot of ideas that I use. I never water, I very rarely water from on the top. The only time I do is when I give them a spray with chamomile tea. All of my plants are watered from down below, on trays. Let the plants take their own water up. I use a nice free draining compost. I've also made my own compost up, which you can see in the corner here. It's a 3-2-in-1 mix. 3 multi-purpose compost, 2 of good garden compost or good garden soil, sieved, and 1 pot good sharp sand. Well, always make sure you got good sharp sand in. It gives you a nice free draining mixture. It'll hold water, but it's also free draining. So it's ideal for planting seedlings, for potting off. It's a potting off mixture. If you're putting seedlings in, the only time I'll use this for seedlings is when I grow my sweet peas. And that's one of the main reasons I've just taken my coat off, because it's absolutely boiling here. I'm going to open this door a little bit. It's absolutely beautiful this morning. So what I'm going to do this morning is, before we go to the plot, is just give you an idea of what I was doing last week. I've got the sweet peas started off. Now I always like to grow sweet peas in the autumn. A good autumn growing sweet pea beats a spring sown one any day long. You get a nice big root system, and that's the whole idea of growing them in the autumn. Grow them nice and cool. One of the main things I always keep telling everybody is light. You must give them plenty of light. Don't put them in the shade by no means. No heat whatsoever. Inch on the top. Sow a couple of seed. Multi-sow them in pots, 2, 3 or 4 in a pot. Lightly cover them up. Water them first. Soak the compost first. Put your seeds in. Give them a spray of chamomile tea by all means. Set. Away. Get them up the garden where it's nice and light, up on a shelf near the light. No heat whatsoever. Nice and cool. When we go up the plot this afternoon, I'll show you the ones I've already potted up. And as I say, sweet peas are nice and slow to grow. What you will see, that's why I like to use these clear pots. What you will see, you'll see the root growing. There'll not be much on top. Very little on top. They'll just grow away nice and slowly. If you've got the heat right, if you've got the temperatures right, and you've got the light, they'll just grow away lovely and slowly, cold over the winter. But what will happen is they'll put stacks of root on. Good root system. Come March next year, you'll have a fantastic plant. But there'll be a little bit more work to do in between then. What I like to do with mine, you'll see in January and February, once they start picking up, they'll start growing to about 3 to 4 inches, and that's the time I like to nip mine out. Just nip the tops out, and what will happen, it'll force them to bush out. And by March, end of March, beginning of April, you'll have a lovely bushy plant, all ready for sticking into the garden, and they'll just grow away anyway, up against a trellis on a tree, up against your roses, wherever you want. Fantastic flowers. But this is where I grow my sweet peas, and you'll not be sorry if you grow them, if you want to try some in the autumn. But I will insist that you make sure they get plenty of light. They're not really suited to people starting them off in the house. It's too warm in the house, and windowsills can be very dark. They don't get full light. If you are going to put them on a windowsill, then go back on the early videos in January when I showed you how to make a light box. Straightforward cardboard box, lined with tin foil or some reflecting material, white. And what it'll do is, you put your seeds in, it'll reflect the light from the back of the box onto your plant, so it'll give it a good steady growth. The majority of people that start off on windowsills, they're growing towards the light. All your seedlings will, if you don't keep turning them round, but they will grow and they'll get leggy, and that is really a bad start for any plant. So, as I say, when we're at the plot this afternoon, I'll show you my sweet peas that I planted last week. Now what I have been doing the last couple of days, I've been coming down to the greenhouse here and sorting my bulbs out. Now that's the job I've got to do next week. I've got all my dafts lifted this year because I had a few changes to make in the wife's garden, in the flower pots, the herb beds, and a couple of boxes, so I had to lift all the bulbs. These are some of the small dafts. Tea, beautiful little flower. Some of the larger ones I've got over there, and the tulip bulbs. So what I will do, I'll plant them next week in the garden. My son just been down yesterday and give it a good tidying up and a good clean up for us, so I'm more or less ready to go, ready to start planting. So I'm well on track. What I have been doing over the last 3 weeks, I did on my last video. I showed you the seedlings, the annuals and the spring sown seedlings I started off a couple of months ago. Now these are the pansies. Now John Harris, who I talked to a couple of weeks ago on my Facebook page, his pansies are still small. Don't worry, mine are just like that. I know they're late this year, but what will be happening with these, I'll put them off into pots, into that trays. These will go to the garden and they'll just sit in a cold greenhouse. No heating whatsoever, just nice and light up on the top shelf. Cold greenhouse, and they'll overwinter in there in the small pots. And come the springtime, next March, end of March, early April, when it warms up, there'll be a nice strong little plant just plant out in the garden, and you'll still get a first class flower from them. I've got trays of Bellis daisies, trays of wallflowers, pansy, polyanthus. They're all been done. I've spent the last 3 weeks in the greenhouse here, where I have been poorly, coming downstairs for an hour each day, a bit fresh air, and just doing a little bit potting off. I've managed to do as much as what I could, and I feel as though I'm starting to make a bit of a comeback. I'm starting to get a bit stronger. So hopefully over the next couple of weeks I'll get all this potting off done, and then the greenhouse is free for the leeks and onions. As I say, the lights blast away at the back of me, which is giving off a little bit of heat. It warms the greenhouse up, so what I do through the day, I switch the heater off. I never like it any more than 60 in here at the most. 55, 60, and it's 65 in here at the moment. So I've got the door open to let some fresh air in. I never like it any warmer than that. If you're going to grow some giant onions, and then you only want a little bit of heat, you can use a propagator, just a plastic dome on a tray. Put your seeds in, but I'll show you all this next week. And these are fantastic. Pick them up from any garden shops, and they'll always give you a couple of degrees, even if you're just using a cold greenhouse, no heat. And try a couple of propagators, and you'd be amazed at how warm it warms up, and it'll bring your seeds up. Because leeks and onions are pretty strong little plants, but if you just wait a little bit patience, and we'll set you off on the road within the next couple of weeks to sow your onions and your leeks, and you'll get a nice big crop for next year. As I say, I want to get up the plot this afternoon. I want to have a walk around there and show you what we've been doing. We've got one of the greenhouses. It's really in a poor state. The polythene's all been split with the last 2 storms that we've had. So hopefully next week we've got about 4 or 5 lads coming up to give a hand and put a new sheet of polythene over the greenhouse. So we'll get that done. With polytunnels, we've got 2 large polytunnels, 14 foot by 40, and it's a 100-foot greenhouse. So for the new subscribers, you're going to enjoy yourself when you get yourself up on the plot this afternoon. What I will say is we've got a Facebook page, which is Jeff Foreman on the plot. Send a request and get yourself on the plot, and you can chat away with the rest of the lads like we do over an evening, share our pictures, whatever you want, whatever relevant to the garden. And yeah, I know the videos have been a bit sparse this year, but that's all been down to my accent. But I'm touch wood, if I can find some. I'm on the road to recovery now, hopefully, and I'm really looking forward to next year. One of my main priorities next week, Roger's been turning over the beds and the borders. Most of the stuff's been cleared from the polytunnels. I've managed to plant a couple of rows of Japanese onions, but next week I want to get started with the spring cabbage, but I'll show you all that when we get up the plot. One of my main jobs next week is the chrysanthemums and the dahlias. Now, they were just thrown in the garden. One of my friends, because I couldn't do any digging, couldn't do any planting, one of my friends come down and he just throw them in the garden for us. What I have got is the stock plants, so I'll be lifting all them this week, put them in the greenhouse, getting them dried out, getting them cleaned up, disinfecting the roots, and put them in nice clean pots, nice clean compost, ready for putting on the heating mid-December, early January, and then we'll get some nice young cuttings for next year. As I say, I'm not going to be showing next year because I want to wait till the following year, excuse me, to get myself really back on my feet, get myself back to fitness, and then we'll start thinking about showing the following year. I know Dean's well ahead with his show dates. He's joining up the NVQ, the NVS, and different other organisations. Well, good luck to him. As I say, it's a great hobby, gardening, and you meet a load of great people. So for the new subscribers, I hope you enjoy your time here on the plot. As I say, you'll get used to me filming down here. I like to do a little video down here and show you how we're getting on. I don't use any heat up the allotment, or very rarely. Maybe it's in March if I take the first batch of leeks up, the first batch of onions, and if it is a bit cooler up there, what I'll do in one of the little houses inside the polytunnel, I'll put a little paraffin heater on just to keep the chill away, and that's all I'll get. I don't like using much heat. What you will find on the plot is that we don't like to use chemicals. We're pretty organic, me and Roger. We like to do everything not so much by the book. We've got our own ways of doing things, so if you can pick up a few ideas or a few tips on the way we do it, well, you're welcome to it. Don't forget, get yourself on the plot, Jeff Homer on the plot, and you can post pictures, you can ask your questions any night of the week. We're always here. So it's 11:15 now, and hopefully after lunch I can take a slow walk up the garden, or I'll get John to come down and pick us up in the car, get taken up there, and I'll get this video finished, and hopefully I'm going to get this video online tonight. But all my regular subscribers, they know my situation where I've been like the last year, so hopefully I'm on the up now and hoping to get a video done at least once a fortnight, because we are starting to look forward to next year now. All your preparation, getting all your garden ready, it all comes in handy, because the more you get done now, the easier it is for you next year. If you're all prepared, great. I mean, even the likes of washing pots and cleaning pots, I always say that you've got a good greenhouse, you've got good compost, you've got good seed. Don't let yourself down by having dirty appliances, pots and trays. Get them all nice and cleaned out, bring them in, make sure there's no slugs on them, snails. That's the worst thing you can have, where you've got a bit of heat in the greenhouse, because they'll just munch your way through your seedlings, no problem. You go to bed one night, you come up in the morning, and you'll find that rows of seedlings just disappeared. But cleanliness, yep, make sure they're nice and clean, and then we'll crack on next week. We'll start with some leeks and onions. I'll do a video next week. We'll start with the leeks and onions down here, and then we'll go up the plot, and we'll finish off with the dahlias and the chrysanthemums, hopefully, if we get a nice spell. I know it's going to be wet and windy tomorrow, so if tomorrow's out, what I'll do, I'll concentrate down here potting off these pansies and scratching around doing a few bits and pieces. But for now, I'm just going to have a bite to eat, a cup of tea, and then we'll get ourselves way up the plot, and I'll see us all up there soon. Okay? Well, good afternoon again. Here we are. I've managed to get up the plot for a half an hour. I'm getting a lift off one of the lads. So where we are now, we're in the big tunnel at the front, and what I have inside here is just a little poly house of what we call the melon house, and where I grow most of the bedding plants. I've been gradually filling it up over the last couple of weeks with all the spring bedding that I've been taking. I'm going to take this coat off because it's absolutely boiling up here. Northeast, 1:05, and the temperature in here is 74, 75. So that's not bad for a winter's day. So the spring cabbage, if you watched the last video or the video before, I was busy on with these, and these are the Spring Hero. There's triple Spring Hero that are just a nice size there now. Then I'll be putting them off for a week or two yet, so I've got plenty of time. I like to get mine in about the middle of November. First, second, third week November does make fine. They go into the cold polytunnel, and we'll get a nice spring cabbage from March onwards. And what we like to do, we like to have all the spring cabbage cleared out the tunnel for next May at the latest, and that's when the tomatoes first start going in. So yes, these crops are well ahead. There's a tray of Duncan. They're absolutely spot on. A little bit weed growing amongst them. That's the only trouble with the compost. So when you make your own home composts, is that you will get little weeds growing through, but once you learn your weeds from your seeds, it's a doddle of a job. Here we have a tray of Sweet William, all nicely in the cups. Now, when I pointed out in the first video, when I started potting the seedlings off, I put them in little cups and little pots and trays. and they'll sit in a cold greenhouse, just overwintered, just nicely in here. And there's a first class tray of wallflowers there, absolutely beautiful. Now they'll make a fantastic plant around about the end of March, beginning of April. They'll go in the garden, harden them off in a cold tunnel. Once we get the sides lifted, let the light in through the nets and the fresh air through the nets, harden them off, and they make a fantastic plant to go straight out late March, early April, and you get a fantastic flower from them. So yeah, well pleased. This place is really filling up. The geraniums are been digging up from home and bringing them up here. They're just about all finished in the garden now, so I like to get them dug up and get them housed. 2 or 3 of the first fuchsias are already up, and they've got young seedlings on already. What I'm going to have to do is start and go through all these, because as I say, there's all the weeds starting to grow through. If you just keep your pots nice and clean, free of weed and the odd spider's web, there's nice young growth coming on there now. They've been cleaned down, completely cleaned down. And come January, February, I should get some nice young cuttings. Once I put the heat on, just let them tip over, nice and cool, and you get some nice first class cuttings off them for next year. So that'll be our fuchsias for next year. My spring bedding's all done. My spring cabbages are done, so we can start and rest easy just for a little bit, not too much. We've still got loads to do. I'm going to take you out into the garden now and show you what we're up to in there. Hopefully I'll not be shaking the camera around too much. As I say, we're in the biggest of the tunnels. This is only a foot wider. The bottom tunnel's 13 foot and this one's 14 foot, but they're both 40 foot long. Then I have the 100 foot greenhouse outside there, and that's divided into 3 different parts. Just for all the new lads and lasses that's coming on the site, I started subscribing to it. Well, welcome. This is the plot, and as I say, this is one of the tunnels that we like to do most of our work in. This bed in here this year, we had it filled with sweet corn. We'll do a 3-year rotation. We'll have 2 big tunnels and a big greenhouse, and we're lucky we can rotate each one each year. And what we like to do, when we have tomatoes in, the tomatoes come out and the beds are left bare until the following year. The mucked seaweed and the taties go in February. That's the first early taties. They go in the February, and then what we'll do when they come out, we'll plant it up with sweet corn, onions, leeks, and then after that they get planted up with spring cabbage, so the spring cabbage clears the soil for you. I've never had a flush my trenches. Now the bottom tunnel when I go in there, that's 10-year-old, and I've never had a flush that trench. It's because we rotate the crops, and when you finish off with cabbage on that year, what the cabbages do, they clear the soil for you. They take up all them nutrients, all that excess salts, and they clean it all out for you. So when you're rotating and you're mucking, you're getting a nice pure soil for when you start your next crop in the following season. And that's the way we work our tunnels. This one's limed at the moment. Now we're going to have 3 rows of spring cabbage down here, and then the big greenhouse, which is at the moment it's a bit of a disaster because all the roofs split, and I've been well warned not to go climbing on any roofs, because that's how I got my accident in the first place. So I've been warned, keep off any roofs. The leeks here, what's left off the bulbils, we took the leek heads down. I've got one head of grass down home, a good head. I've already taken a lot of pips off one of them, and the other one that I had the grass on, I'll be doing that next week with the onions. So we'll sow them all together. You can see the 100 foot greenhouse. All the roofs are away at the moment. But I've got 3 or 4 lads coming up this weekend to give us a hand with us. The dahlia bed's looking a little bit sorrowful at the moment, the chrysanths, but no doubt all them will come out next week, and we'll get them into the greenhouse there and get them dried out, get all the roots cleaned up, and then we can get started ready for next year. We'll get started all again. I'm really looking forward to it after being off for a year. I haven't really gotten as much done as what I've liked. Roger's been a godsend up here. He's been up every day, just making sure the place has been taken over.
But we haven't done too bad. We can't complain. There's quite a few strawberries left there. Dean Hood's going to pick some of them up. Here are Dean, nice strong strawberry plants. You can get them once you're ready. And then I'm just going to pop this camera down on here and hopefully sit down for 5 minutes and I'll show you how we're getting on with our strawberries. Because we always get a first class strawberry crop. Never fail with that. I'll turn that around, I think, on there, and that should be fine, hopefully. Right, so there we are with our strawberries. That's our first way. These were the first year cuttings, the rooted runners that we took at the beginning of the year, if you remember, and they've really outgrown their pots. Fantastic, lovely young plants. So what we like to do with them is we like to put them straight into the baskets. I'll go also with you this again next year. 3 plants to a basket, and we put the bags in the basket so it keeps all the moisture in. Especially when they're under cover, you can water and feed. You've got full control of your watering and full control of your feeding without any wastage, no seepage. When they're in the baskets, if they get too wet, just tip them on the sides so the water runs off them. So that's the first year baskets taken care of. Once they come out of them baskets, the second years they go into the green tubs, into these pots here. And they spend another year in there. These will go back in the greenhouse. And then the third year, along on a big table, they follow the black pots, tip out of here, into a black pot, and then after that, the third year they get thrown. And we'll just start again. A 3-year rotation. And we'll get fantastic crops every year. But I'll go through it again next year with you. And starting from the cuttings, from each year up over. I know I have much chance to show how we did it this year. As I say, we had my accident, but hopefully next year is going to be better. I'm going to take you into the big greenhouse and just give you a little tour of that. If I can get myself back up again. Right, so as I say, it's a beautiful afternoon up here in the northeast. We've still got lots to do, but you know, I'm confident that Roger's going to get it all sorted before the heavy weather sets in, and that's the 3-year strawberries in a big bucket there. I'm trying to keep this camera steady and walk with a crutch at the same time. It's a little bit difficult. Right, okay, so down the side there, the raspberries, I've managed to get 2 of the bottom beds tied in. I'm just slowly working my way up here. I'll get them ones finished within the next week or 2. Maybe it's tomorrow morning if it's fine. I know we're forecast for heavy rain and winds tomorrow, so I might get up for an hour first thing before the rain hits us. And then we'll get we just had bonfire night last night. We got a lot of rubbish burnt, but Roger's been digging bits and pieces out the garden, and of course we're going to have another fire. We've got a nice bag of ash here. Of course that'll go on these 2 beds here. There'll be 2 beds of potatoes for next year. We'll have our first earlies in the tunnel, and we'll put our main crop potatoes back out in the land, so we'll always get a fantastic crop of potatoes. We're not complaining. Usually just some of the leeks that we just threw out, some of the show leeks, we just threw them into the garden, and they'll go for soup, no worries. As I say, there's not much this year that I did manage to grow. We haven't put any work into it for sure-wise. The leeks and the onions, we just had to throw them in. I got a bit of help from a couple of friends. Like I say, the flowers were exactly the same. They were just thrown into the garden. Because I wasn't able to show this year. I'm not going to be able to show next year, but what I will be doing next year is getting all my trenches ready for the following year. Right, now I'll just show you a couple of them. Well, these are a couple of the show onions, and all we did with them is just pop them in the garden. So anybody that wants a nice decent onion, no special work done to them. All they were doing is they were growing in the greenhouse and then put outside and onto the land, because I didn't have any time to spend on them. So lovely show onions there. So that's what we'll be growing next year. Anybody that wants to try and grow a big onion, they'll be nice for the shows, and you can impress some of your family and friends. So we'll just go around the bottom greenhouse and we'll spend a half an hour in there, okay? Right, hopefully you're off again. Here we are, we're in the what we call the 100-foot greenhouse. It's split into 3 parts, or 4 parts. We've got the hut on the bottom. We'll have a 12-foot part of the greenhouse here, which is lined, and we like to, if we can, we can put a little paraffin heater in there and just keeps it frost free. This is where a lot of the bedding will end up. We've got the shelves already built, and at the moment they're getting filled up with Bella's daisy. So here's a perfect example as how we like to look at flower plants. Now Bella's daisy are biennial. You sow them one year to flower the next year. Normally we would be growing them in the summertime. Nice strong plants to plant out in the autumn, September, October, and then they flower in the spring. What we're doing in here, we're doing exactly the same thing. We're potting them off into small pots, and then we'll let them overwinter in these pots, and by next spring they'll have a first class plant. Not so much on top, but they'll be full of root, and they'll just gallop away once you get them in the garden and you get a nice flower for the springtime. So we're doing just what nature does. It's just sowing the seeds and letting them grow through. Some nice trayfuls of wallflower, and exactly the same, they're growing away well. We'll just keep our eye on them. Nice and warm in here. I'm going to have to check the temperature because I may have to leave one of the doors open. It's 65 in here, and it's just a cold greenhouse. There's a little bit of sunshine over there in the west, just hitting the greenhouse now, and that's what's bringing the temperature up. So never worry about in the winter time. You get a little bit of sunshine in your greenhouse, and you'll be quite surprised at how quick it can warm up. So I'll get a cold greenhouse, especially for in there. I'll take you through in a minute, and I'll show you the sweet peas what we started on. Let's get this get me crutch out of the way. Once again, I'll just take you through here. As I say, this is a 12-foot greenhouse. It's lined, so this is pretty stable at the moment. Well, this is a poor part. This is 40-foot of greenhouse here, and all the roofs away. And this is what a couple of lads are coming up for this weekend. They're coming to give us a hand, get this roof repaired. I'll not be climbing up there. My son will be, and hopefully we'll get a new skin on here, and we'll be all ready for the next term again. I've got a grapevine that I just popped in there. This was a seedling off last year. I've just popped this in there. I'm going to train that right along the full length of the greenhouse. What I tell you in the first video is the sweet pea. There they are. And once again, it's just a few little weeds just popping up from the top. If you're making your own compost, you will get to learn to get another weed from the seed. On the top of them, all there is a bit of perlite mixed in with the 3-in-1 compost, and it just makes a nice light mixture. Now they'll be starting to sprout, even though it's just a cold greenhouse. They'll start and sprout in a week or two. Just keep your eye on there. Feel the tops of them. If they're moist, leave them. Don't worry about them. It's a full tray there. I love the autumn sown sweet peas. Once they start growing, as I say, they'll be kept in here in the cold all the time. They'll not move from here. We'll keep them in, keep them nice and cool, and hopefully in the springtime we'll have a nice pot of flowers to plant out. As I say, the roots will be well down, the pots will be well full of root, so you'll have a lovely plant just for planting out in the springtime. Now we've got a load of work to do in here. As I say, all the roof's been there. We've had 3 storms in a row, and each one's taken its toll of the polythene. It's a few year old, this polythene now, because we always get the UVI polythene. Some parts of it's fine, you know, it's just farther down, there's a few splits in it. So what we'll be doing is concentrating, and then once again up this part we've got another 20-foot through this door, which I use for a cool greenhouse. I've got 2 double doors there, and what I like to do in the summer, I open them 2 doors, and they are wedged back, and they stop open all the time. So there's plenty of fresh air blowing through here. It's a bit of a mess at the moment. I'm busy trying to sort through trays and pots and whatnot. If you go back to some of the early videos, last year when I took a lot of cuttings and divisions, the Xanthidecias, well that's the young plants growing away there. I'm starting to bring a lot of them inside now, I'll not leave them out for the winter. I'll bring them inside and I'll just sit in the cold greenhouse on the benches or in the greenhouse. That's where a lot of the dahlias and chrysanthemums are going to come. They're just going to sit in here. Even though there's a few holes in the roof, they'll dry out, and then I'll be able to come at them one at a time, clean their roots up, wash them, and re-put them up in some fresh compost, and they'll be all ready for putting on the heat bed for next year and get our root cuttings off them. But that's a plan. But up till now it's looking a little bit raggedy, but I'm not too bothered. We're getting there. It's a bit at a time. It's just it's taking a little bit of time to get turned round. But once we do, we'll be up and running. Right. Whew. Got little seats all over the garden. If you want to get too tired, I can just pop my bum down. Oh, that's better. And pop my bum down and just have a little sit down. As I say, my leg's not strong enough to carry as yet, so yeah. So these are all the plants that were potted up. As I say, they're all died back now. A lot of the hostas, I took a load of cuttings from hostas last year, and this is the perfect time now to start them off. So what I like to do is I pull all the rubbish off them, pull all the weeds out, tip them out, if it'll come out. Well pot bound that one. There we are. Oh, beautiful. And that's only a year. That's a year's growth. So really, these can come out of these pots now and go into a bigger pot. It's a fantastic root growth on there, and that's a lovely little hosta for next year. Now it's only taken since last October when I took all these, when I divided all the hostas up and I divided the xanthadeshas. Go back on my videos and their seedlings and their divisions. You've seen how I cut them all up, and I must have about 50 plants, spare plants. So we'll be bringing all them inside, getting them all cleaned up, and I'll just put them outside on one of the beds somewhere where it's a bit shaded. Maybe it's up the side of one of the polytunnels where it's out the road of the weather, and they'll sit there quite happy till next spring. And no doubt there'll be lots of people wanting some of them. So this is it. This is a plot. So for all you new subscribers, welcome to it. I know it's a little bit windy and it's a little bit ramshackle at the moment, but no doubt in the next couple of months we'll get stuck back in. We'll get it all put back where it should be. It's a lovely greenhouse. This, as I say, it's split into 4 parts, and each part plays its own little role. This top end here, I like to bring all the spring bedding in here and all the early summer bedding. Open the doors up, plenty of fresh air, nice and cool, and it just acts like a big cold frame, and it's absolutely brilliant. The middle greenhouse, that gets rotated every year. Cabbages, potatoes, tomatoes, leeks, onions, keeping the soil nice and clear. Never have to flush the beds, and that's an important thing for me. Not too much work. We have the weekly hoses on down both tunnels on the bottom. So all we need to do when they plant it up is to turn the weekly hoses on, and they just get fed nice and slowly, drip fed through the night or through the day, which is a good day. Saves you a good few hours work hosing down. But yeah, well that's it. We've had a little walk on the plot. I hope you like what we're doing up here. As I say, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and send a request onto our Facebook page, which is Jeff Farmer on the Plot. Get on our Facebook page and you can join in some of the banter we have every night. There's lads commenting, posting pics of the garvins, the hens, the pigeons, whatever you want, and just get in with the banter, and hope you enjoy it. But for the time being, this is going to be my first video. Next week I want to start them dahlias and chrysanthemums, and I want to set away some early large onions for growing into next year. So if you want to grow some large onions, well, keep an eye on our post. I'm going to get myself away down now, because that sky's starting to turn a little bit bleak, a little bit cool. We'll focus for heavy rain and winds tomorrow, but if I can get up early enough, I might just get a few of these raspberries finished off and a little bit of work done here before the heavy weather hits me. I'm just hoping it's fine for this weekend, for Sunday, so I can get the cover put on. But from next week, I'll be starting the videos off every week. So it's chrysanthemums and dahlias next week. We'll get them tubers dug up, get them cleaned up,
get them boxed away ready for winter, and then we'll get back down home and I'll show you how to plant some larger onion seed up. Okay, so for the time being, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you all again soon.